Hi there, I'm Mary Wanless, founder of the Rider Biomechanics movement, author of the Ride With Your Mind books. I teach riders to ride with more awareness, more feel and skill, so that they ride their horses more ethically, they're more effective in their riding and training, they have more fun in the process, and they feel safer as well. Horses that are truly on the bit feel very different to sit on to horses that aren't. So in the various contortions that horses do that may well come naturally to them or may have been taught to them and trained into them by folks by mistake, unwittingly, without meaning to. So there are some horses that go along and feel like they go thunker, 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 which of course makes sitting trot virtually impossible. There are some horses that go the boing, 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 and that's really hard to sit on too. When on the bit really works, what you have is a chain of muscles connecting from the horse's hind legs and hocks, over his buttocks, over his croup, under the panel of the saddle, up each side of his crest to each ear, with a whole connection of muscles. Sometimes I think of it like a hose with water going through it. And if the water goes smoothly through that hose and there aren't any blockages or eddies or black flows or stucknesses, then that smooth way of energy transmitting through those hoses yields to the rider a very different surface to sit on. And of course this is one of those things that we hope to become a virtuous circle, in that the more the rider sits right, the more the horse goes right, so the more the rider can sit right and the more the horse goes right. And when it goes wrong, it's a vicious circle. The more distorted the horse is, the more the rider can't sit, and the more she contorts herself, and her contortions make it work, and then she tries hard, and then she starts pulling, and then she starts sweating, and then it gets worse. So getting into the virtuous rather than the vicious circle, and beginning to get where that and transfer of energy creates a shape, the beautiful, enviable shape of the horse really well on the bit, with no fiddling, no pulling, just really through the rider's ability to influence the horse's back and to push the head and neck away from her. The ability to get a horse on the bit is, I think, thought of by many people as either a talent you were born with or a talent you just don't have. And if you just don't have it, then you become one of the struggling masses looking enviously at beautiful horses and kind of fiddling and hoping and doing various things. What I'm going to say to you is that the ability to get a horse on the bit is not a talent that somebody was just born with. It can be broken down into a set of skills that can be learned step by step. And that's absolutely my aim in the real life teaching I do and within these webinars. So I too was a rider back through time who couldn't get horses on the bit and would fiddle and kick and pull and do whatever it took to make their noses vertical. And it was over 30 years ago that I began to figure out that it really didn't work that way. So there's a learnable set of skills according to how the rider is sitting. You cannot not influence when you're up there. You have your weight, you have your centre of gravity, you have where your centre of gravity is relative to the horses, you have the wibbles and wobbles you didn't mean to do, you have the shoves and pushes that maybe you meant to do and maybe you didn't. And all of these, how your body is, your asymmetry, your positioning, your stillness, your wiggliness, is really read by the horse moment to moment and influencing him. Now when you can figure out how to put yourself on the horse's back in a way that takes away all the noise and just becomes the streamlined way of being there that naturally causes him to reach his head and neck into the rein, shorten his tummy muscles, lift his back muscles, change his carriage, which changes then how his legs move. When you find out how to do that, it's all doable. And it is learnable in a step-by-step way. It took me many years to break it down into steps, but many riders have learnt these steps. We can reproduce the supposed mysterious talent of getting the horse on the bit, and you can learn to do this too.